Thank you, Anders. That was amazing. Getting a little insight in trends and into the future of customer journeys. But I think that I would like to remain for a while within this subject of customer journeys and trends. So I would like for you, Anders, to remain with me because we actually have a virtual panel together with us here this afternoon. So take a seat, and also I would like to invite all the other guests into our panel, which are Patrik Centellini, founder and gelato maestro of Gelato Caput Mundi. I also have Carita Weiss, Chief Payment Officer at Coop Sweden. And with us all the way from the beautiful island of Gotland, we have Rickard Wahlin, Product Manager and Customer Account and Payment at Svenska Spel. Warmly welcome to me here on screen for this virtual planet on customer journeys. How are you doing? All together.
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Fine, thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you, even though we're meeting virtually. Now, Rickard, I would like to address the first question to you.
Yes.
You've been one of the first companies piloting payouts. How did that happen?
First of all, I think it's customer driven. Our customer services have had several incoming calls from our customers asking us to speed up the payout process. So it was on our top. It was at the top of our wish list for many years. And but it actually started a couple of years back when we were able to launch Swish Handel. Already from the beginning. We were earlier then too. And so we had a good collaboration with our bank, and we had the contacts with Swish. And when we heard that Swish were thinking about this service, we said, okay, we want in right away. So that's why we were in the pilot.
That's good. Now, Carita, I know that you're in the forefront of many of these trends that we're hearing about, new customer journeys and so forth. And I've gotten a great question for you from our audience. How did you come up with the idea scan and pay?
Oh, well, it was all about getting the experience closer to the customer, make it easy, and make all the information really transparent, and information about the products was really important. Of course, we really want to make it really easy, and hey, who wants to stay in line? So we just wanted to take that way. So you wouldn't think about the payments or stay in line for that one.
That's great. Well, regarding customer journeys, Patrik, I've got a question for you. And that is, what kind of value have the business app delivered to you as a company, but also what do your employers think about this?
Well, I think that we have one key service to deliver, and that is to serve gelato, serve ice cream, and luckily for us, I mean, there are often queues built up, and that is good. But at the same time, you don't want the queue to be too long. So I think one key value is that you can outsource some of the let's say the order and the payment function to the customers, so that the user actually, as you saw in the film, that they can make an order and a payment with Swish, this normal Swish app, and we can actually call them to the counter when it's their turn, and that is a great value. I think that is one part, and one other value that we have seen with the business app is that you can also move around. So the mobility of it, that you can have a person move around. We have a park where you have people sitting, and they can also be standing in the line, and we can actually work down the queue directly in the going out with the business app to the customers and initiate like a payment with them and help them. So I think that's some key values. And my employees, I think that they think the app is easy to use, so that is good. I think, other people have been saying here that we really want to. The more you can take out, let's say, the payment part of the equation, or just interact with the customer, the better it is. So they're happy with this.
Well, as a customer of yours, I can actually say that it worked out splendidly. just so that you know, and I love your gelato. But that's another thing. Now, back to you, Carita. Do people think it's easy to onboard and use the app?
That was actually one of the most important areas when we developed this app, is that let's make it really easy, because there's so many places that you just need to register your name and addresses and everything. So in this case, you just download the app and you can start scanning and you pay. So we made it really easy. And for the members, of course, because we have the good member prices and your personal offers, then you just identify yourself with the mobile bank ID, and then you're ready with your fantastic offers. So really easy, and the feedback from the customers is that, oh, it's really easy to start using it.
Perfect. Now, Rickard, also, follow-ups on payouts. We saw on the movie earlier, or the film that you showed earlier, with your colleague Frederick, who mentioned 75% use Swish for payouts. Is that the same number today?
No, it's higher.
It
We've
is
passed
higher.
80%. Last week we had 87% of our payouts went through Swish.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Mm.
Now, Anders, once again, thank you for a great presentation. How do you think that Swish contributes to the changed and all through changing retail system and digitalize retail systems?
I think Carita and Coop showed a great example of what we can do with Swish, and that is that you actually don't need an extra registration when we see that the border between physical environment and e-commerce is erased. With Swish, you don't need to register to be able to pay. And of course, we already almost have all use enrolled to the service. So I would say that is the best thing about it. It's easy to get starting. And also that one agreement can serve both the e-commerce area and the physical, and you can do refunds in both environments or both channels for the merchant.
I see. Well, I would like to go back to, because I received a question about QR codes, and this is directed to you, Patrik. How do your customers experience the use of QR codes?
Well, I think clients are getting quite used to it, so I think it's good. But I must say that I'm surprised that many still are new to QR codes. That there is, let's say, a natural learning journey, so to say. I mean, but a lot of us have started to use QR codes, and I think that there will be a shift, maybe pendulum shift next year with so many solutions now utilizing it. But for me, it was a little bit surprised that we still, not everyone is used to it. So there is a learning journey.
So there's a learning process, but it always is in the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Carita, what does your user, when it comes to values, what do they value the most when it comes to payment, would you say?
Yeah, I would divide, there's still the two different areas. You have the online payments and you have the payments in the store. So the experience is a little bit different. And I would still say that on the online side, of course, Swiss is so easy to use. So that's the winner in that area. In store still, as you go to the cashier, so cards are quite common still and will be if you go to a cashier, and they will use contactless. But what is happening, like the one that we are building, Coop Scan and Pay, so we are actually moving the e-commerce to the stores, and the experience is getting together with the online. And that means that the behavior changes. And like in Scan and Pay, 75% are using Swiss. And if I'm a card issuer, I would be a little bit worried.
Well, I can imagine. I can imagine. And how about cash in that case? So back to you, Anders. We heard earlier that you've become almost, that Swish have become almost a substitute to cash. And as Carita says, also to cards then. How do you work with accessibility for everyone, to include everyone in society?
Yeah, this is really important for us, and we all the time regularly work with tests that new functionality fits all. For example, we also have this people with visibility impaired. They often say that Swish is very good because you get the amount and the recipient in the Swish app instead of actually seeing it on the terminals. And you can ask Siri to read it to you. So there you have a really good thing about Swish. And then we also work with this, older people sometimes say that they are afraid of new technology, but you can see Swish have a big role in the, for example, TV program Senior Surfarna, where older people learn new technology. So that's another way we are working with it.
That's good. So it's more inclusive then, even though it's digital. I like that. I like to hear that. Rickard, how do you think the commercial business models and financial services will change in the future in your industry?
Step by step. I say like what Carita said. I mean, it has to do with friction, reducing friction. The payment part of it is something inevitable today, and it has to sort of we have to lower the barriers and make it more easy. What we think is easy today, people will think of as difficult and time consuming tomorrow. So we always have to be in a constant movement, so to speak. From our perspective, I say that what we will see eventually is the account balance disappearing. We could probably go again directly towards the payment methods, but there are some things that need to happen before we can achieve that completely.
I understand. Now, also, I would like to, when I've got you here, I would like to look a little bit into the future, further into the future. And Carita, you were talking about changing behaviors and customer behaviors and so forth. Do you think that you will, in what ways are you looking to change the customer journey in the future? In what other ways?
We are working on the customer journey, regardless if you are at home, if you're in a store, or you're traveling, or making dinner. And we want to make the experience about the food. And for example, I think all of us, we do the week planning for what we need for food, what kind of dinner we're going to make. How about if that plan is proposed to you automatically and you just confirm it, and the next day you have the food on your doorstep? So it's all about making easy payments, something you won't even think about.
Good. That's good. I like that. Now, we have been talking a lot, and I really feel, especially not having you with me on stage, the effects of the pandemic shows all over society. Now, Patrik, if I can ask you, have you noticed any differences in how people want to pay now? I was talking earlier about contact-free economy and so forth, but have you seen any differences now, how we as customers want to pay due to the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, a big difference, very big difference. I mean, as you've said, many people don't want to touch the point of sale terminals. And for us, that was very noticeable this summer. And for instance, even when we have for security reasons to have like every 10th purchase that you do contactless with a card, you get prompted to insert the card and put in the PIN. And when that happened, for some reason that happened more often this summer for us in our point of sale environment. And when that happened, the customers almost always asked, can they pay with Swish instead?
Oh my.
So it was like, so they really, I mean, our customers really didn't want to touch the point of sale terminal almost. So.
And the reason is because they bought more gelato than ever than earlier years, obviously.
Of course.
Of course, I realize that. Now, Carita, I know that you also are releasing these days a new research and new study that you've been performing. And can you explain a little bit about that? And especially, I know that you've asked and looked at differences in how people want to pay due to the corona pandemic.
The study that we have been doing, that's actually 8 years right now, and the study is all about to understand what customers want, how to do they want to react when it comes to the payments, what are the changes on the market. So it's all about understanding our customers better. And in this case, it's quite interesting because this year, I think we all going to remember this as a special year in different ways. And the customers, they really are more open right now for mobile solution. Of course, contactless is something that is also really common because you just don't want to touch in the terminals or whatever it is. Like you just want to keep yourself safe. So the idea is that customers, they really start understanding and see the value from a totally different view that we expected.
I can imagine. Now, are there any other insights that you would like to share with us from that research study? Since it's so new, it's brand new. So I would like to hear what you see. If you gather the most interesting insights from the study, what are they?
Yeah, it's of course it's a lot about the trademarks, which payment methods or are common. Of course, Swiss. If you ask the Swedish people, so Swiss is really the most common, and people trust that. So that's up there a lot. It's not about the mobile payments. How common is it, and are people comfortable using it? And there's a quite difference if you go 5 years back and what's happening right now. We still have differences in the payments if you do online payments, or if you pay your rent, or if you pay in store. So there's differences, but you can really see that the e-commerce and the physical store payments is getting closer to each other, even in this area.
Great. Now I have one final question that I would like to address to you, Anders, of course. We are about to look into the future, and it's almost the end of our time here together on stage, but it is your day, it's Swish Day today, and it's about the future and the coming year. So what more services then do you at Swish plan to develop, or do you see any other needs on the market that we need to satisfy when it comes to payment methods?
Yes, of course. First, we need to stay relevant for the consumers because they are our bread and butter. Therefore, all of these are interesting of Swish because we have all of these private users. So we need to keep being relevant for them. But also we need to broaden our offering towards what the bank can sell to the merchant. And one function that many companies are asking for is recurrent payments. So that will be a focus area for us. And I will also say it's very important to follow our users abroad, even though during COVID, maybe we don't travel that much, but in the future, and I think Anna-Lena mentioned that in the beginning of the day.
You most definitely did, yes.
Yeah, so both we for our users abroad, but also the opposite. If our Nordic neighbors come to Sweden, of course, Patrik in the gelato should be able to charge mobile pay customer as well with the Swish agreement.
Oh, that's fantastic. Good news. And I love hearing this. It's been such a pleasure. I promised to come this summit or earlier. I come during Christmas and eat more gelato, and I will shop in your shop and game in your games. Now, it's been such a pleasure having this virtual panel together with you, looking into the future of payment methods. And especially, it's very heartwarming when we talk about inclusiveness and so forth. So thank you, Anders, Patrik, Carita, and Rickard. You get warm applause from every single home of every viewer here. Thank you very much.